Welcome to today's episode of the Taylor Green Media Podcast. I am your fantastical host, Mike Green. Excited to be here. I had a really cool thing that happened the last couple weeks that I want to share with you, those of you that are listening to the podcast or seeing this in the various places, YouTube, Facebook, wherever. So, fantastic book, Atomic Habits, James Clear. You probably heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, you ought to pick it up. The Audible is really great to listen to. But it's a great book also it's one of those books that you want to have because it just has so much stuff that you're going to want to write in the margins. It's just a great book. Anyway, so going through that concept and basically to summarize the book, and don't let this keep you from reading the book, but to summarize the book, it's small, consistent actions over the long period of time make massive results. And I think a lot of times we struggle as entrepreneurs because we start with the big thing first, right? And when that doesn't happen quickly, we get frustrated and we go to the next thing and then to the next thing and to the next thing. And we're always chasing that butterfly of the big idea and we're not really focused on the small, consistent habits. We've talked about that various times here on the podcast. But I had a really cool case in point illustration in my mind of how awesome that is. So I'm going to flash up a picture here. And those of you that are just listening, you'll have to go to the Facebook page, Taylor Green Media, or watch it on YouTube to see this picture. But this is a really cool picture that my daughter, actually, who's really into art, she drew a picture of Jack Sparrow 5 years ago, and then she drew the exact same picture the other day, and she compared them side by side. And it was so interesting because I'm with her every day, and I always see her drawing, and she's definitely gotten better, but I didn't recognize how much improvement she had made, and more importantly, she did not recognize how much improvement she has made over the years by that consistent action of working on her art every single day for 15 minutes here, an hour there, but she's always working on it. When we saw the side-by-side, it was incredible. It was an amazing experience, and it was a great validation to her that all of her hard work and effort has paid off. And we see this in all aspects of business, right? A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we show people, well, this is what your business looked like before. This is what it looks like now. Those of you in the fitness space, here's your before picture, here's your after picture. We use those comparisons all of the time to help us gain perspective and, most importantly, motivation to achieve our big goals. And so here's my advice for you today. Whatever your world looks like, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether it is in the fitness space or the coaching space or a widget space or whatever space you're in, establish where you are today and document it. Whether that is a picture or that is a KPI sheet or that's a balance sheet or whatever it is in your world, make a strong documentation of this is exactly where I am today. That's step number one, because so often we'll go on a journey and we'll make some progress and we think, oh man, I wish I would have taken that picture. I wish I would have remembered exactly what that number was now that I've made some improvements. So make the decisions today to, from wherever you're standing, wherever you're at in your business, document that piece so you know exactly where you are. Step number two is really clearly define what those small actions are that you are going to deploy every single day working towards your big goal. So again, going back to my daughter, she spends every single day working on her art in some capacity. So whether she's working on a big project and she just does a little bit each day, or whatever it is, she's always sharpening the saw, always getting a little bit better, working towards that big goal. And so that's the second piece, is establish what those small, simple steps are that you're going to take every single day. Step three is to take the time and celebrate and document that comparison. So often, again, as entrepreneurs, we get so focused. Our blinders are so on and so forward, and we're always moving 1,000 miles an hour that we don't take a moment to stop and smell the roses. And when we do that, and especially when we have a documentation of where we started from on our journey, the motivation and the fire that we need so desperately to keep us going forward is refilled when we have that experience. So again, first step is to document where you're standing today. Second step is to establish those small, consistent actions that you're going to take day after day after day. And the third step would be to stop and smell the roses and remember and recharge from that power that you've gotten from the progress that you're making. Because I promise you that you are making progress. Some of you are making big progress, some of you are making small progress, but you need to recognize that to keep you going over the long term. That's all I got for you today. We'll see you on the next episode of the Taylor Green Media Podcast.